Welcome to the Gamers Inn. Come on in, pull up a chair next to the fire. It looks like you've had a long journey. I'm your host, Jocelyn, and joining me, as always, is my co host, Ryan. Hello, Ryan.
Hello. Hello.
How are things with you this evening?
Great. I have a legendary axe right now,
You have a
so that's good.
legendary axe.
Yeah, you can't see it. It's off camera, but it's definitely got a glowy end. It's pretty sweet.
Is this in real life? I'm getting
Well,
confused.
and I don't even know anymore. The worlds are blending. That's the beauty of Loot 2.0.
Oh, I see, I
Don't
see.
know where it begins and ends.
You are getting way, way, way ahead of the show, dude.
Sorry, I was just so excited.
So, what have you been playing this week other than Diablo 3?
Well, that's a good point. That's a good question because there hasn't been a lot of time. So for the last what 3 weeks, I've been just chipping away at a new Wii U game, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, which you kind of have to chip away at
Sounds
it because
kind of
it's
like the lamest thing ever.
doesn't it? It
I
does a little
love
bit.
Donkey Kong, but when I saw this title, I was like, oh my god, this sounds like a mobile game.
Oh my God, it totally does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Tropical Freeze. Well, yeah, Nintendo's really never been known for amazing subtitles. I mean, most of the time they try to like shoehorn the console into the subtitle. Uh, they were notorious for doing it on the DS, like Advance Wars, Dual Strike. Get it? Dual Strike DS.
Ah, ah.
Uh, Title aside, I was struggling last week to try and talk about Donkey Kong Country, and this week I was thinking, how are we going to talk about this game? Because Nintendo's got an issue where, and it's not a problem for me, but it's a problem for a lot of other gamers in the sense that they keep putting out a similar title with a few updates and a
Hmm.
graphical overhaul. And Donkey Kong Country is no different on the Wii U. It looks nicer. It's got some new features. You can play as you got some new side characters. Rather than just having Diddy Kong like you had in Donkey Kong Country Returns, you also have Dixie back for the first time since the Super NES days. You played the old Donkey Kong Country games, right? By Rare.
I did, yes.
Mm. Those were fantastic. And these new ones made by Retro are no different. Like they're very good games. They're very solid. And I was playing Donkey Kong Country before we started the show, and I finally realized the best way to describe it. It is Nintendo's Meat Boy. It's Nintendo's Super Meat Boy.
Okay.
Because it's like, well, okay, the monkey doesn't explode. Like he just kind of goes, "Ugh," and then he falls over and dies. He never like turns into meat, which would be kind of gross
That would be very gross.
when you think about it. But it's like the controls are very tight but it's very complex platforming and you're constantly dying. Now the difference between Super Meat Boy and Donkey Kong is that they are both cripplingly hard, but Donkey Kong doesn't punish you. Like it's constantly giving you lives. It's a Nintendo game. They're constantly giving you lives. They're constantly giving you checkpoints. Whereas in Meat Boy, it's like you died. No, you're starting over. You
Yeah.
get game over. No, we're kicking you to the game over screen. You're not gonna. I'm in the second world of Donkey Kong on the Wii U, and I'm never gonna see a game over screen. I am always got 99 lives. So it's a little hard to say it's the hardest Nintendo game you've ever played, but because you're never gonna get game over, unlike Mario, where occasionally you will get game over because those tough levels are that
Yeah.
can be a pain. Um, but no, it's just this game is interesting because Nintendo has sort of been releasing new Wii U titles every 3 months, and the last one being Super Mario 3D World, and the next one being Mario Kart. And one of the biggest issues with Nintendo's platforms is that they insist on making it different. You know, this one has the tablet controller. It's not,
Ugh.
yeah, it's not as, I don't know, like graphically intensive as the Xbox One or PS4. So really, the thing that's got going for it is that controller, but the last two Nintendo games to come out have not really used the controller for any sort of system selling feature. I mean, with
Hmm.
Donkey Kong, you literally, when you're playing with the tablet or with the controller, that screen is off. You're not using that tablet for anything.
Hmm.
It's kind of like it's like the retro was just like, we're not going to use this. Like this is a
This is
platforming game.
stupid.
Exactly. And when I saw that and I look at Mario Kart and I think, well, Mario Kart's not really going to use it for anything crazy. And the next game after that being Smash Brothers, it's not going to use it for anything crazy. Like, when is Nintendo gonna, put their money where their mouth is? I mean,
Hmm.
and start like developing titles that use this tablet, because not using the tablet isn't selling the system, and so maybe using the tablet will. We don't know, but
I don't think anything's gonna sell that system.
I don't think so either. The longer we go, the longer I start thinking like it's a good thing Nintendo is used to a 5 year dev cycle, because like they've got to come out with something new, and I wonder if they just play catch up and release like a, don't call it this Nintendo, but a Wii U HD where it's just
Oh
like
my
an
god, that's
Xbox
totally
One.
what they're gonna do.
It's totally what they're gonna do, and then maybe they finally catch up and say, okay, in order to, the biggest issue with the Wii U is that there's no third party titles. So, and no third parties are gonna want to develop for it. I mean, we just saw Watch Dogs get announced that it's going to be coming out in May,
Hmm.
and the Wii U version's nowhere to be seen. Um,
Poor Wii U.
Yeah, but the chat room saying that Mario Kart will probably use it. Oh, like the DS had a map. Actually, I
Mm.
remember the DS version of Mario Kart was really handy to have that map, and even Donkey Kong to have like some sort of progress meter on the screen to at least use it for something.
Hmm.
Just come on, guys. You have a second screen experience. I'm sure you can half-ass it. Everybody else has been. It's not that hard. But I'm really enjoying it, and I'll keep playing it. But it is just hard as fuck. It's so hard. I kept dying. It took me an hour to beat one level before we got here.
Aw,
But it's
Pumpkin.
it's it's fun. When I beat it, I was just like, it was just like Super Meat Boy, where you finally beat it, and you felt so awesome. I just had to turn it off so I didn't do another level, because I didn't want to like ruin that high that I had. There's like, I beat this level. Now I can go record Gamers In. Just
Yay,
sort of
Gamers In.
works. Yeah, Gamers In is great, but yeah, it's just another Wii U title, and I mean, as long as they keep releasing them, I'll keep trying to talk about them. But this isn't the game that convinces people to buy this system.
Hmm.
Maybe Mario Kart will. I mean, I know when we were doing Extra Life, I'm not saying you're going to buy a Wii U. I would never say that.
No,
But
no.
but when we were going to play Mario Kart for Extra Life on the Wii, Jocelyn's eyes lit up. And then when we weren't able to play it, there was just this crushing defeat.
That's
And it was
true.
so sad to see. And
I still can't
yeah,
find that freaking game. I don't know what happened to it.
yeah.
But
Well, I think that you should pick up Mario Kart on the 3DS, so we can race.
hmm.
That's something we should do at some point.
Yeah, I think so. So actually, before we move on, I just confirmed with the chat room that we are crackling a little. So I'm going to end the stream and restart the Skype. Well, I'm going to restart Skype completely because I've had it open for the last like 3 days. So
Hmm.
Skype probably needs an update or something stupid. So we'll be right back in like 2 minutes. I promise. We'll be right back. I just can't stand a crackly broadcast, man. It's going to drive me crazy. And we're back. Hooray. So we just talked about Ryan and his love of Donkey Kong and not so much love of Wii U, which is
I love my monkeys. What?
so. There's actually no monkeys so far in the game I'm playing, but really and truly, it could go either way.
There'll be monkeys.
There must be monkeys somewhere. There is definitely a man bear pig.
Spoilers.
So I have been playing the crap out, literally out of South Park Stick of Truth. So I picked it up on Tuesday, and I think I've already put probably 6 or 7 hours in, which, considering I have a full-time day job, that's actually quite a lot of time. So oh man, dude, I love it. It's like playing through an episode with like turn-based combat with a little bit of like twitch mechanics built in, and like,
Hmm.
oh, I don't even know. It's so much awesome. Like, if it's not necessarily going to deliver anything new, but if you're a fan of South Park, then you're going to get all the things that you love out of South Park are in this video game.
A friend of mine described the combat to me as Super Mario RPG. Have you ever played any of the Mario RPG games?
Like,
Like Super Mario RPG being the best one, or like
No.
Paper Mario.
I
They're
was gonna
like,
say I've played Paper Mario and it is
okay.
quite similar, but I'm just trying to remember because basically what happens when you're in combat
Hmm.
is you have like you and a member of your group. So I almost always go with Butters the Paladin because I love
Of
Butters.
course, everybody loves Bettis.
So you have you and your member of a group, and then a group of enemies, and they're kind of lined up in rows. So like I'm a rogue, or sorry, not a rogue, a thief, which at the beginning Cartman made fun of me for being a white thief. He's like, "Oh, I've never really heard of one of those." I was like, "Dude." So it's
Racism.
so South Park, like so
Okay.
South Park. And they don't have like the confines of a TV network to kind of be like, oh, you can't say that. It's like,
Uh-huh.
no, they can say everything.
So it's not bleeped.
No, there's no
Okay, good.
bleeping, there's no holding back on any kind of like political or like societal norms. Like it just, yeah, it goes all out. But yeah, so the combat is like, so as a thief, I have the backstab ability. So I
Mhm.
can go and like stab the guy at the end of the line of bad guys, but I can't stab the guy in the front. You know what I mean? So you have to
Right.
kind of choose who you're going to attack. And then as part of my backstab, my weapon like flashes 3 times. So you have
Mhm.
to, I'm playing with the controller, and you have to hit like the A button each time you see the flash. And if you don't time it right, you don't get maximum damage, but you
Mhm.
still do some damage. So there's like a little bit of the like Twitch kind of stuff to it, but at the same time,
Yeah.
it's like it is turn based. So it's like I have my turn, and then like I can slow my enemies, and then they have buffs that speed them up, and
Cool.
like speed is like how many turns you get. You know, if I'm faster, then I might get 2 turns instead of one, or you know, it might go me and then enemy, enemy, me, and then enemy, enemy, me again instead of like, you know, going through all 4 of the enemies if I'm just super quick. So it's all that
So
kind of stuff.
when you say Twitch, sort of combat, like it is turn-based, but do you like have the ability to do more damage if say you hit the A button at the right time? Is that what you
Yes.
mean?
Yeah.
Okay. So
And then it's the
that's
same
a
thing
really
where
cool.
when your enemy attacks you, if you hit the button at the right time, you can block. So there's like a little bit of that now. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
I'm torn because I, I've never really been a hardcore South Park fan. I can appreciate it. The episodes I have seen, I've laughed, and some of the episodes I've heard of, I don't want to see. Um,
Yep.
but I think the one that sticks out in my mind that will forever make me completely trust South Park from here until the end of it was the Warcraft episode.
Yeah. This is like a video game built in the Warcraft episode.
Oh, that's really good. And you at the top of the when we started discussing Stick of Truth, you kind of said it's not doing anything really that radically different, but I feel like it is super different because I don't think I've played like an RPG like this where it's comedic and it's just you're just out there to have some fun. I'm sure it's not very difficult. It's not like a hardcore RPG.
No, not
Yeah.
really. I had my first boss fight against the
Oh, okay.
redhead hall monitor, which was
Red.
interesting.
I don't know who that is. Who is the redheaded
Oh
Hulk?
no,
Should I know
that's
who that is?
literally he was just a ginger hall monitor. That was what the
Oh,
name of the boss was. Like,
man, you're good. You're making me want to. And we should remind people that this game is $60 across the board,
yeah.
right? Yeah, which is fine. I mean, I'm totally cool with games being the price they're worth, and
Well,
um,
like I say, I did pay full price for it, and I've sunk a good probably 7 hours into it, and I am
mhm.
nowhere near like I mean I have one. What are they called? Chin Pokemon. Shin Pokemon? I can't remember. But
I
they're
don't
like
know.
basically they're little dolls that look kind of like South Park's version of Pokemon, and there's 30 of them hidden throughout the game, and I've only found one so far. So, I
Make me
mean
wanna
like
play.
what?
You make me want to play this game. It's
Exactly.
I've been avoiding it because there's just so March is so busy. I just got my Titanfall preload code that I'm probably gonna throw in on the weekend, but like There's just so much happening, but I feel like Stick of Truth is just so different from everything that's happening this month that it's probably worth picking up to be like, I'm just gonna go rather than watch an episode of South Park, I'm gonna go play the game for like 20 minutes. Like,
Exactly, yeah.
that's really cool.
So I'm really enjoying it. I think it's definitely worth the $60 price point if you're a fan of South Park. I find that what I really like about South Park usually is their like political commentary jokes. And what I don't like about South Park is like the toilet humor. Like I can deal with Mr. Hanky the Christmas poo. Okay. But you know, like I find at least even in the Warcraft episode with the explosive diarrhea stuff, I was just like, okay, that's enough. Like, no,
Yeah,
the whole rest of the episode was so good, and then all of a sudden it's Cartman and his explosive diarrhea, and I'm just like, damn. Oh, I'm just gonna fast forward through this part.
I can pinpoint the moment where I started to watch South Park and stopped watching it, and it was that Warcraft episode where I was like, yeah, I'm gonna give this show another chance. And the episode when they came back from the season break was after they won the Emmy, and it was about Stan's dad taking the biggest shit. And when he finally took the biggest shit, they just stuck the Emmy, and like the little NBC thing came up like Emmy award-winning episode, and he grabs the Emmy and puts it in the shit, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm probably good to just watch YouTube clips of the funniest moments.
Yes.
So from here on out. And I'm not.
And then there was another episode that was all about them like eating food backwards, so they'd like stick it up their butt and poop it out their mouth, and like Cartman did it to prove Stan wrong, because Stan was like, that's not how the digestive system works or whatever. Cartman's like, oh, I'm totally gonna do it, and I'm just like, oh. And then the whole episode was like all about the whole town of South Park like eating backwards and just like vomiting poop.
God. I don't know if we're an explicit podcast, but we might have to be explicit plus. I don't know. Like, I don't know if we can talk about reverse eating. I guess. Okay. What are the two Canadians' names? You know how the
Terrence
Canadians
and Philip
flap their mouths like that? Are they in it yet?
No, not yet.
They will be.
You walk into people's houses and stuff because you go visit your friends to go play, and sometimes Terrence and Philip are on TV, so you can hear them, but you can't actually see them. But yeah, so the chat room right now is going, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "Yes, I know, I understand. Please understand. This is not me. This is South Park. These are the episodes I'm saying I don't necessarily enjoy."
The thing that always scared me, that got me about South Park, was the alien stuff. It was just so weird. Like they took that sort of like mythology to the next level, and there was just way too much ass probing. I can't even say it.
Oh my god, there's so
way too much ass
apparently the abortions is a thing in Stick of Truth. Somehow I'm not there yet. I mean, I'm playing with a bunch of like 8 to 10-year-olds, so I like because all the kids in the story, like Cartman and Kyle and everything else, are all 8 to 10, right? So apparently abortions come into play at some point, and so does anal probing, both of which have been banned in Europe.
So wait, why do you have a bunch of 8 to 10-year-olds in the room with you while you're playing?
No, not while I'm playing. I'm saying the characters in the game are 8 to 10, so I don't understand
like,
where abortion comes into 8 to 10-year-olds. And I'm kind of like, I'm sure it's going to be typical South Park humor, and I'll probably enjoy it at the time, because there is one episode where they talk about it, and it's really, really funny, because Cartman... You know what? I'm not even going to go into it because it's really disgusting. But anyways, it's really, really funny. There's a Cartman and Stan's mom abortion episode, and if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about, and it's hilarious. But I'm not going to explain it because, again, it's just way out there. So I can see how potentially they could make it humorous, but apparently there's like 5 minutes worth of South Park like cutscenes and gameplay and mini games that have been taken out, like censored in Europe. Yeah. So
the way they do it is they show a screen of like Michelangelo's David kind of holding his face like this, and it describes the scene. So they know what they're missing, they just can't see it, which I think was a great way of censoring stuff out for the European audience. I mean, that's just hilarious. A typical South Park fashion. Right?
Exactly, yeah. So, I mean, overall, it's so much fun. If you're a fan of South Park, you should get this because it's like the longest episode of ever. And then if you're not a fan of South Park, then maybe you need to like go to YouTube and watch some like clips and some gameplay and, see if maybe it's your thing. But be aware that it's South Park on steroids. Like, they don't hold anything back. And so far it's been hilarious. But the other thing I'm actually really enjoying about it is that even though there's a lot of like repetition, like if you take a long time to do something, instead of having like one repeating like sentence on a loop or something, like, hey, hurry up. Hey, hurry up. It's like, like Butters will yell at me to hurry up. And then my, like each of the 4 opponents will have some like little jab at me or something. And then Butters will say something again, but it's a different something. Like I've been playing through Assassin's Creed 4 as well. And there's this one spot right near the very beginning of the game where you have to like rescue this smuggler, or I don't know. He's not a smuggler. He's a merchant. But he says the same 3 things over and over and over again. And Assassin's Creed is a stealth game, so it takes you like 2 minutes to get to him. By the time you finally get to him, you want to murder him because he says his 3 sentences in succession, like one right after another, like, oh, take my sugar. Please don't kill me. Take my sugar. Please don't kill me. Take my sugar for 2 minutes. And you're just like, oh my God, I'm just going to kill you right now and take your ship.
Well, he's afraid. He's being threatened by the British. Well, what else are you going to say besides, please don't touch my sugar?
That's the thing, that's a very bad example of voiceover and looping stuff. And South Park does a really good job of like, you have to wait like 5 minutes before anyone repeats something that they said, sort of thing. So
yeah, but you consider that like it's 2 guys doing the voices for everybody. They probably didn't have to pay them much more. Whereas like Sugar Guy and Black Flag, probably for that extra line would have been a hefty price.
Yeah, that's true.
He did have to put on a British accent. I mean, we all know those are expensive these days.
Yep. So that is my very quick overview of South Park Stick of Truth.
I want to buy that game.
Oh, you should totally buy that game, dude.
Eventually. I want to.
If for nothing else, Princess Kenny.
Oh my God. Kenny always dying was probably one of the most traumatic things of that series for me, because when it first came out,
they don't kill him out. They don't kill him off every episode anymore. They stopped that probably season 5 or 6.
Yeah, because when I watched it, I was like, when I first started watching it would have been, oh man, I remember staying up till midnight to record it because my parents wouldn't let me watch it. I can't remember what it was. I'm dating myself. Yeah. I'm either going to be too old or I'm going to be way too young to be watching South Park. So either my parents are assholes or I'm a big baby. So I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole any further. But it was a long time ago, and I remember Kenny always dying was just the most traumatic thing ever.
Yep.
So they don't pull that joke out like for good old time's sake.
They haven't done it for a really long time. They had an episode whenever they stopped doing it. They had an episode where Kenny actually like got sick, like leukemia or something, and like died, and then they were like, I can't even remember how they explained away the fact that he was back the next episode, but it's like, it's almost like his parents were like reproducing so quickly that they just had another like spare Kenny in the closet.
And that's how they explained it.
Yeah, and then they were basically like, okay, Kenny never dies now. Like, we're done. We've done the Kenny death thing to death. It's over.
But I miss, like, you killed Kenny, you bastards.
Yeah, it still happens every once in a while, I think, but it's definitely not like an ongoing episode thing. But I mean, like, Al Gore is in it, and he's a big side quest, and like, it's just.
Is Al Gore voiced by Al Gore?
I don't think so, dude. I don't think, with few exceptions, they're pretty much all voiced by the two guys.
The reason I ask is Al Gore does like Futurama work. I mean, Futurama is not quite as lowbrow, but I'm just saying, like, he has experience with animation, so yeah, but it's South Park. So
it is South Park. I'm pretty sure that they just make fun of him, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
So cereal, guys. Come on, guys, I'm super cereal.
Cereal? Oh, yes. Yep. I don't know what's cereal about it. I don't get it.
Anyways, so yeah, South Park. Pick it up. It's amazing.
Cool.
So also something I've been playing, not this week, but it was a while ago now. But apparently, Twitter has informed me. I never actually talked about it on the Gamers Inn, but I got into the ESO beta probably, which is Elder Scrolls Online, for those of you who aren't aware. That was
Nah,
back
where have you been?
probably 3 or 4 months ago now, I think I was playing.
Hmm.
And I loved it so much that, like I've mentioned on here a bazillion times, I bought the Imperial Edition, which is the collector's edition. It comes out on April 4th. I'm super stoked about it. But I never actually talked about what I thought about the game and the gameplay and everything else. So I thought I'd just go over it really, really quickly. Again, I didn't play into it too far. I think I got to about level 10, and I did that because I wanted to get a good feeling for the game, but I didn't want to spoil any of the story content. So it's yeah, it was great. I mean, I've heard a lot of complaints about graphics specifically, and I wonder where those came from. It actually wasn't Joel. It was one of the other graphical men in my life. But so the big complaint they say is it's so simplified compared to Skyrim. And I'm just like, it's an MMO. You can't have Skyrim level graphics in an MMO. It would
Yeah.
tax everybody's systems to the max and no one would be able to actually play. So
Yeah.
I thought for what it was, the graphics were actually really good and I enjoyed it a lot. So the story so far from what I've done was moved along pretty quickly. It didn't feel like so much of like WoW's problem is you go from, and they fixed it a little bit in Pandaria, but you get a quest and they say, go kill 10 things. You go kill 10 things, you run back to town. And then somebody else in town says, okay, go collect these 5 flowers. So you go run out to the exact same spot and you try to get the 5 flowers and then you come back again. So, like there's a lot of back and forth and back and forth. And I felt with Elder Scrolls, it wasn't like that at all. So it's,
So, Sales Geek's asking in the chat room, you have a stable of graphics men? It's like, no, Sales Geek. She has a stable of graphic men,
uh-oh.
if you know what I mean.
This is going a really weird place. So,
It's really weird, but I blame South Park, to be honest. No, ESO, I have not pre-ordered the Super Omega, get in 5 days early and get the Super Class edition.
yeah.
I'm still waiting. I'm on the fence. I have had a few people say to me, it's like, come on, we're gonna play it for 2 weeks and it's gonna be the best 2 weeks of our lives. Let's do it. It's like,
I think for me, the biggest thing, and I feel the same about another beta of an MMO that I've played recently.
I haven't pre-ordered that one either. I'm not committing to an MMO.
I
Not
find,
yet.
yeah, I find that questing specifically,
Hmm.
you cannot do with other people. No MMO seems to have figured out how to actually have multiplayer built into questing. Like, and I think that's why I liked ESO versus this other MMO that shall remain nameless because of NDA reasons. So basically, I tried playing that other one with somebody and it was awful because I was kind of, okay, where are you? What have you done? Have you done this thing yet? And we were grouped. And it's just like there's
Yeah.
no like interface there. And then in ESO, I was playing completely by myself. So, and it was really early on. So a lot of the people were like, "Oh, let me help you. Go do this thing." Versus like apparently the teabaggers that are in there now. So it's like it was a totally different experience a couple months ago when I played versus what I'm hearing from people who've played in the last couple of weeks. So I'm kind of curious to see what happens, but in the end, like solo questing in ESO I think is going to be awesome, and as long as I don't plan to play it with other people, I think it'll be awesome. And then I think the grouping up part might actually be driven by PvP, right? So
Right.
we might all be questing on our own, doing our own thing at our own pace. But if we're all in the same general area, then we're going to be kind of like watching each other's backs. So I think it's
Yeah.
going to be more like informal grouping versus like Ryan and I are in a group and, like 3 other people beside us are in a group.
You know what? It feels to me like new MMOs when they launch, and I mean both of these are in beta, and like Jocelyn said, her sort of not opinion, but like your experience with it is 4 months old. It's
Yeah.
kind of hard to form an opinion on a beta, but like I find the party structure stuff is the stuff that gets added in an update down the road. Like
Yeah.
they're just more interested in getting the story, questing, and all that set
Yeah.
out for you day one. I'm not saying that I don't know for a fact whether WildStar or ESO or insert other MMOs here that are going to come out this year will have a fully functioning party system. But it'll certainly be a bullet point for one of the big updates. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars had the same issue where they had a big party update afterwards. They didn't have like grouping systems. They didn't have they had, they didn't have a looking for group, which was huge.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, if you don't launch with all the features that WoW has, that's had 10 years to build,
That's true.
then you're constantly berated with negative comments until you
Mm-hmm.
actually do build them. Um, but I feel like ESO would make a really great subscription Skyrim game
Mm-hmm.
because you're basically paying like when we saw Skyrim, we got a huge game, the huge base game. Then 6 months later, for $20 more, we got a little bit more, and then 6 months after that, we got a little bit more for 20 more bucks.
Mm-hmm.
I think with ESO, if they can keep up with the $15 per month model and give you more and more content each month, it becomes worth it, especially if you liked Skyrim, because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this game is the closest you're gonna get to Skyrim MMO. It's not
Yes.
exactly the same combat. It,
Mm-hmm.
it feels a little different. It's
It
definitely
does.
been MMO, but
Yeah, it is a little bit different, but I
mhm,
still really enjoyed it. Did
yeah,
you play with a keyboard and mouse when you played?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Can you play with a gamepad?
I again, this was so long ago. I'm
Mhm.
99% sure I did, but I might be confusing it with something else. But I'm 99% sure I played with a controller. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't know. I'm really looking forward to it. Like I said, I did pre-order it like literally the first day the pre-order was available. Barbecue Master in the chat room. First of all, yes, I've been playing Hearthstone, but I never talk about Hearthstone on Gamers Inn because that's what Angry Chicken is for. But second, you were saying that the subscription killed it
Contractual
for you.
reasons.
And with ESO and any other MMO, you get the first like 30 days, I think, or first month or 30 days, or however they technically word it, for
Yeah.
free. So, I mean, you've got 30 days to figure out if you like it or not. And then after that, it's a $15 a month subscription, which I kind of like in a PvP environment because that means that there's a little bit of a barrier to entry, which is enough to keep out the douchebags.
Well, there's gonna be the rich douchebags still.
Well,
I mean,
yes,
let's
that's
face it.
true.
I mean, you're never gonna get rid of the rich douchebags no matter
That's
where
true.
you go.
But
Most
you
of them
can't
hang
get
around the
people, you're
Starbucks,
not going to
but
get the kind of people that just, drop in for a day or two to
yeah.
cause shit and then leave. Like you're going to get the people that are like, okay, well, I have something invested in this, which
Mhm.
I think makes people take things a lot more seriously. Not to say, again, it's the same in WoW. It's not that there are not douchebags in WoW, because there are. But I think the overall population in WoW, at least on the realms I play on, are friendly and helpful and like all of that. They're generally enjoyable to play with. So I'm really hoping that is the ESO subscription will kind of push the community that way.
Yeah, and I think like they said this with Star Wars when it came out, it had to be subscription to support the type of content they're putting out, which was sort of true because they were having, voiceover for every quest,
Mhm.
licensed content that is written by people who are allowed to write Star Wars type stuff. But I think ESO is trying to do the same thing. It's all voiceover.
Mhm.
It's
Which when I
all
played, it was all
yeah.
robot voices, which was amazing. You get this like high elf with like a big staff and a huge cape, and then he has a robot voice. I was like, oh, I hope it stays like this.
Yeah, it doesn't because
No, it
I
doesn't.
played it. They had the voiceover in. I think I played
Mm.
a couple months ago, but I really like that, and I think it goes a long way for me, especially if I want to play a cinematic game. And I don't have a problem with paying $60 for an MMO for 30 days and just having it in my,
Mhm.
inventory if I ever want to go back. But there is always that kind of like, if I want to play this game again, I have to foot the bill for $15. But the last time you played that game might have changed enough to
Mhm.
make that extra $15 worth spending.
That's
So,
true. And Sales Geek in the chat room did bring up a kind of a different counterpoint to what I was saying. Although I think we're talking about two different kinds of douchebaggery, which, yes, there are two different kinds of douchebaggery. So
Big Ben.
Sales Geek's point is that because there's a subscription fee, people have the entitlement feeling, and that ups the ante in the douchebaggery count. So, I mean, I can see that, yes, but I think they're two different kinds of douchebag. Like you have the douchebag that is a jerk to the people that it's playing with
Mhm.
versus the douchebag that's a jerk towards the game and the company. You know, the one who's a jerk
Right.
towards the game and the company may make, you know, forums or Twitter or whatever kind of a little bit less fun to be in. But the
Mhm.
guy who's a jerk in game to other players is the worst. So I think a sub fee kind of gets rid of a little bit of that. And
Mhm.
yes, you're going to have the entitlement feeling from the people that actually are paying and are playing, because you see that in WoW all the time where they're saying, oh, why is Blizzard this or why aren't Blizzard that? And it's like,
Yeah.
well, because Blizzard's Blizzard and it's their game and they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, I think it's great that, Elder Scrolls is getting an MMO. We talked about this, I think when the show started, before
Mm-hmm.
Elder Scrolls Online was even a thing. It was like, of course it would make sense to be an MMO. They'd be stupid not to.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of other properties out there that would make sense as an MMO, and I wouldn't be surprised if they launch
Yeah.
as a subscription model. Let's face it, guys, you spend 5 years making a game, that thing is going to launch with a subscription model.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how it's going to work. You ever notice that, like, the free-to-play MMOs that supposedly are supposed to come out and break the mold don't usually come out? Like, I'm looking at
Or
you,
come out
Amalur.
and
Come
then,
on.
yeah, go away after
Yeah,
not very
like,
long.
it's just no one's been able to make that game. Maybe Blizzard makes that game with their
Mm-hmm.
next MMO. I don't know.
Never know.
We'll see.
So what we actually were playing, I don't know, Ryan, do you want to talk about Loot Crate? I don't know what Loot Crate is, so.
It's not a game.
Oh,
I wasn't sure. I didn't have a lot of stuff to talk about, so I was like, let's talk. It is gaming related. I can quickly talk about it. Have you ever
okay.
heard about? Never heard about Loot Crate, or else you
No.
would have been like, let's talk about Loot Crate. Um, it's this little box that you order. It's like this. It's a box filled with loot, and it's for gamers, and it costs for us Canadians. It costs $33 a month, and basically you sign up, and they send you this
Oh,
box
so it's
filled
like a
with
wine of
stuff
the month club, except for
for
loot.
gamers. So this one was themed after the Bravest Warriors. I have no idea what that is. This
And yet you
sounds
spent $33
I
on
didn't,
it.
okay, that's the thing. You don't know what it is. I didn't cancel my subscription in time. You don't know what it is until it's almost too late. They kind of give you a bit of a window to kind
Hmm.
of say, I don't know anything about that. I'll cancel. But I did get this cool T-shirt. So sometimes they send you like T-shirts and stuff. So it's like the alphabet of video games. So you got like H for Halo, and then
Oh.
it's kind of neat. And I'll probably wear it. That's a cool geeky shirt. But next month is Titanfall themed.
Oh,
So
cool.
all the stuff in there will be Titanfall themed. They've actually partnered with Respawn. In the States, it's a much more swallowable price at about $20 a month.
Hmm.
The stuff you get in there, like there's like a little bag, there's like
Is it
comics,
shipping that
stickers,
makes it more expensive?
probably,
Hmm.
because it's not a hefty box. Pulling shit all
It
over the
looks like
place.
it looks like about the size of a shoebox.
Yeah, no, it's a bit smaller. I mean,
Hmm.
if it's like a toddler's shoebox, maybe. I got this cool bunny in there, like little. It's just like little grab bag geek stuff. It was
It's
really
loot.
cool. And yeah, it's loot. And
Swag even.
yeah, actually, you know what? A lot of the stuff that you get in there seemed like stuff you would pick up at a convention for the respective theme company, I guess. So if you were at I don't know, an animation con and you went up to the Bravest Warrior table, they'd probably give you this stupid bow tie that came with it. I don't watch Bravest Warriors, so like all the stuff's like a bow tie, sweet, okay, you know. But some of the cool stuff that they do offer, you can kind of look at the past crates, and some of those crates have been really cool. Like they had Futurama items,
Oh, neat.
and the companies they partner with are actually like Star Wars, DC, Nintendo, Capcom. Uh, those are the big four, but no, just lots of cool stuff. And yeah, I'll have March at least coming to me at the end of the month, so I'll be able to share like the Titanfall theme one.
Very
Maybe you guys
cool.
want to sign up.
So,
It's
where
really
do
cool.
you go to sign up? Is that just like lootcrate.com or?
Yeah, lootcrate.com, and yeah, it's Sales Geek saying it costs about $12 more to ship something to Canada from the US.
Mm-hmm.
He would know because
Yes,
he
he would know.
basically makes a living off of shipping things to other places. So no, yeah, it costs a little more to ship it to Canada. I think Word to the Wise probably sign up for their newsletter, and then they do like a theme announcement, and then you can decide, okay, I like the idea of this theme. I'm going to sign up for this month. all.
are you able to just like sign up for 1 month and then cancel and sign up again and cancel, or are there fees and stuff associated with that?
No, you can cancel anytime, but they don't have a cancel button. You have to email them to cancel. And I
Oh,
hate that.
that's why they make you do it.
But
Because
it's
they're
like,
just like, he's going to feel all awkward and he's Canadian, so he's going to be really nice about it. And if we just make this a little bit harder than just a cancel button, then he might not do it because he's nice like that. And he'll be like, well, I could make somebody feel awful and I could bug somebody every month, or I could just pay the $33 and just forget about it and get my loot. They're banking on you just forgetting about it, dude.
of course they are, but like, if I see that theme announcement and it's like that pony brony stuff, like I'm not gonna sign up
Pony
for.
brony stuff.
I'm not like, no offense to the people who like the bony prony, but like I'm not
The
gonna
bony
sign
pony?
the the brony pony. I'm not gonna stay up for that stuff. Not I. It's fine if you want to do it. That's all right with me. You can have my loot crate filled with brony, paconi, raroni. I don't want it. But yeah, you have to cancel by emailing them, and
Right.
it's a pain. But it's worth it for crates that you think you're gonna enjoy.
Hmm.
I just did the February one because I wanted to try it. But there's always at least one item that, like a T-shirt like that,
That t-shirt was pretty sweet.
you'll probably end up buying something like that for $25 anyways.
Hmm.
Because let's face it, being a geek, a cheeky geek or whatever, a fashion geeky guy,
Yeah.
it costs a lot of money.
Yeah, geeky t-shirts are not cheap unless you go to Slash Loot, where you can pick up a t-shirt from places like Starcrossed or The Gamers Inn or other fabulous shows on the Frog Pants Network, like The Morning Stream. I don't know what Ryan's doing right now,
I'm wearing
so...
my bow tie
Oh,
because I
right.
paid $33 for it. Damn it! I can figure out how to get it on.
We're getting the Ryan bow tie experience. So yeah, head on over to slashloot.com and grab yourself a Gamers Inn t-shirt. We have been playing something else on Gamers Inn Game Night. So it's been, what, 3 times now that we've played Diablo 3? Oh no, 2 times, and then once I played by myself. I'm not supposed to tell Ryan. Damn it, I just told Ryan.
Me, and then I was like, I can't play.
So,
Alright,
yeah. So we are playing Diablo 3 in kind of anticipation of the new expansion coming out, which comes out at the end of the month. I'm super stoked for it. I still haven't bought it because I can't decide whether I want to do the regular edition or the digital deluxe edition because it comes with a battle pet.
I think you should buy the digital edition, and here's why. Because I'm guaranteeing you this second. Look at my bow tie, Jocelyn.
I'm looking at the bow tie.
Okay, you can't not look at it. I am being serious when I say that we are going to play the crap out of Reaper of Souls because I am thoroughly enjoying our experience with Diablo 3.
I am also really enjoying it. I remember the first time I tried to play it was right after Diablo came out. We got Diablo 3 as part of the annual pass for WoW. So we essentially committed to pay the subscription to WoW for a year, and they gave us a free copy of Diablo 3. I have never played Diablo before. Diablo 3 was my very first experience in that universe, so I was not tied to the story. The gameplay was okay. I started off with a wizard, which I still think that the wizard is my favorite class. I've now tried a monk, a wizard, and a demon hunter, and wizard is my favorite so far. But anyways, I think we got to about halfway through Act 2 in the desert, and it just hit this like lull. It was like all the environments were the same, the dungeons all looked the same. The story kind of just died out for a bit there, and I stopped playing. So now I'm super excited to see the story because I saw the Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls trailer, and I was like, whoa, this totally went in a really awesome place, and I want to know what's going on now. So I'm trying to catch up before the end of the month. But Ryan, you've already finished the story, right?
I have. I powered through the story solo when the game came out back in May 2012. That's a long time ago,
May?
Jocelyn. Yeah, it was. I think it's weird that it's been 2 years. It feels like it came out, but then Heart of the Swarm was literally a year ago. So
I think that's why not that I'm getting them confused, but at the same time, like, I feel like Diablo 3 came out when Heart of the Swarm came out. Like, it's almost like I'm just missing a 9-month chunk of my life.
Were you talking about South Park again?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know whether I got swept up in the internet shitstorm that was this game is not the Diablo we wanted, but it was the Diablo Blizzard deserve. I don't know. I was
The
trying to make a
Diablo
Batman
we
joke.
deserved.
Yeah, I remember enjoying it, and I played it with friends for a bit, and of course, what happens every time I try to play games with my friends, like they get way far ahead, and I just give up. But,
Yeah, I
um,
think where Joel and I were playing together, we
mhm,
kind of both hit the same wall. We were playing all the time. So every time we would hang out, at that time I was still living in Ontario and he was still down in Nova Scotia. So we would have our like video game date nights and we would play something and, talk on Skype while we were playing. And Diablo 3 was one of those things. And I think we both just hit the wall at the same time and we're just like, well, we have all these other things. We played Portal 2 for a while. We played, WoW, and we were trying to level our WoW characters, and Diablo just kind of fell to the wayside. So it's not so much that people got way ahead of us, but we didn't have any other options. By the time we stopped playing with each other, it was like probably 6 weeks into the Diablo kind of cycle.
yeah.
And or I guess like 6 weeks after Diablo launched. And there wasn't really anybody else who was still at the like 25-ish level. Everyone was like already done their first playthrough and, like had their level 60 characters and whatever. So we were just kind of like, yeah, we're done. We're going to go play other games. So
Well, the issue with it is similar to the issue you had with WoW, whereas like certainly people would go back and play with you, but they've already seen the story, so they're more
oh,
interested in just getting you through the content. And
exactly.
we had this conversation last night when we were playing as part of Gamers in Game Night every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. It was that we were talking about like, when are you gonna start getting to story content you haven't experienced? And I think you said it was like you had just said middle of Act Two, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, you're probably better off either going off on your own or playing with somebody who, respects the story. And
Mm-hmm.
I love the Diablo story. Anything Blizzard puts out in
Mm-hmm.
story form is amazing, and I would listen to it again, no problem. But I think that it would be worth going back and playing through it, especially before this next act comes out, because
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't feel connected, but it is it is probably going to be connected in some way.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm just really looking forward to more Blizzard content, and we've been having a blast with Loot 2.0.
We absolutely have. So, Loot 2.0 came out with a patch this past week, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't long ago. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it was just a week
I
ago.
think it was like Monday or Tuesday that they patched Loot 2.0 into the system. So basically, well, first of all, we're getting a 50% bonus in XP gain until the expansion launches. And again, that's at the end of the month. I don't know the exact date. Ryan, do you know
Uh,
the date?
25th.
25th? Okay, yeah. So now until the 25th, you get a 50% XP gain bonus. So you can like blow through content. But at the same time, they changed the loot system. So now it literally feels like everything that drops because they also got rid of the auction houses are gone now, right?
I can't remember if they got rid of both or they just got rid of the. I think that actually I just saw this. I think the real money auction house is still there until the 18th.
Okay.
And that's the date they're pulling it. But I can't remember if the gold auction house is going away too. It probably is.
I'm pretty sure they're getting rid of all the auction house content.
Hmm.
Because now every single thing that drops is usable. And if it's not actually usable on your character, then it's like a rare item that you can disenchant for all the fancy different dusts and stuff. And you can craft what you actually need. But I mean, like, in just the time that we played last night, I have a legendary helm, a legendary pair of boots, a legendary crossbow, and I feel like I have one more piece of legendary gear. I essentially have four of my
Yeah.
like 10 slots probably filled with legendary gear. And that's just in one night of playtime. And it's just like, it's so amazing because you feel like, you might kill 7, 8, 10, 15 things and nothing but gold will drop. But then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, the thing that drops is like epic or legendary or rare with a bunch of awesome stats that you can
Mhm.
actually use and will boost your damage or your health or, whatever. Like, they're awesome pieces of gear.
Yeah, and I guess like part of the reason people didn't really enjoy the main game, the 1.0, was that loot didn't feel quite as epic. Like you'd
Mm-hmm.
occasionally get you'd get a good drop, and that would make you feel like you were king of the world, but it was far and few between. I don't think I really got anything super crazy in my 20 hours of playing before, like in 2 years ago, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to the 2 hours we played last night, where, like you said, things were dropping like all over the place,
Mm-hmm.
and occasionally every 20 minutes or so, someone on Skype would be like, "Oh my God, I got an orange and I'm
Mm-hmm.
equipping it. And now
And
I
then
got
you
an
get an
achievement."
achievement because you
Yeah.
equipped a legendary item, and like it's just
Yeah.
it's so much fun.
Hmm.
And so one other thing I noticed, which used to be, although there was the town portal function, which basically lets your character cast a town portal that will take you back to town where you can sell things and buy potions, and then you can click on the portal to go back to right where you were, which is awesome. It's like very, very specific fast travel. But it got really, really annoying if you had to, like clear maybe a quarter of one floor of a dungeon, and there would be so much crap dropping that you would literally have to go back to town after like one quarter of one floor of a dungeon, because you just had to like go back to town and sell it all, and everything that was actually worthwhile and useful to you never actually dropped for you. You had to go buy it in the auction house, which meant you had to pick up every single little piece of like common junk to go back to town to sell, because you needed every single piece of gold to go compete on the auction house for gear that was actually helpful. I think by
Right.
taking the auction house out and making loot drop that's actually good for your class is so much better. Like it's really, really, really made a difference in the way that I play the game and the enjoyment that I get out of the game.
Yeah. It's been a lot of fun, and along the lines of like having your inventory just stocked with items. I really wish that Diablo would steal Torchlight's idea of a pack mule or a pet that you
Oh,
could send
yeah.
back to town. I think it becomes a little more difficult when you have to have a pet that you tell, hey, you know, disenchant these ones and
Mm-hmm.
sell these ones. It becomes a little unrealistic, I
Yeah.
guess, at that
The
point. But
crafting system in Diablo is
mm,
a little bit more robust.
yeah, well, I think in Torchlight you just wanted to sell everything.
I was going to say, I don't even think that Torchlight actually has a crafting system. So when you
Yeah,
kind of break it down like that, then it makes it much, much more difficult. And I think
yeah,
they kind of get around that with the town portal. It's like, instead of your pet will return in 1 minute, it's like, well, you cast a town portal, you go back, you sell your stuff, and you come back to the dungeon in like a minute. So,
yeah. And it's been a lot of fun just strictly with that loot. And I've noticed like when we were playing that there were a lot more like random events.
yes.
Like
Oh
things would
my
happen
God.
when you enter a cave and
That
stuff.
what did I set off by accident? It said like, I think it said like cursed chest or something. And I
Yes.
was
Yeah.
expecting when I went up to open it that it would be like, I got zapped by lightning or something. And I'm like, oh, it'll probably put me within an inch of my life, but I've got 25 health potions, so I'll totally be fine. Instead, it starts a timer and it's like, you can only open the chest if you kill like 50 monsters in 30 seconds. And then it's just like swarm of spiders. And I was like,
Yeah.
what have I done? Click, 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 click.
And I was still 4 levels behind, so
Yeah.
I'm like, "What are you doing?" We kept dying. I think
Yeah.
we died a few times, but I mean, we were just having a lot of fun, and
Mm-hmm.
I try to think back, like, why didn't we experience this with Diablo? Was it just because we weren't playing, as a group? Was it because we were trying to do something that we weren't really supposed to be doing with Diablo? It was just,
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what it was, but I think us and a lot of people are back in, and
Mm-hmm.
that poses
I like
puts yeah.
I I mean, obviously I'm in BattleNet a lot because
Mhm.
I play Hearthstone all the time. And when I'm not playing Hearthstone, usually I've been playing WoW. So I'm in BattleNet and I can see all the time like what everybody else on my friends list who's online, like what they're playing. And I mean, like I had one friend out of, I probably am up around 100 people on my BattleNet friends list now. And so I would have like literally 1% of my friends would be playing Diablo prior to about 3 weeks ago. And then obviously launching a new expansion, this big patch, like all of it is bringing people back in. And now like everybody is either Hearthstone or Diablo. Everybody. And I'm just like, wow, like what is going on? So, and it's totally this new loot system. So there were other things that came in this update as well. It's not just the loot. So this whole difficulty thing, I think last night I kind of just like skimmed over it because there was a whole bunch of screens that popped up when you first go in after the patch, and I was just kind of like, I don't have time to read this. I just want to get in and play with my friends. So I have no idea what's going on with this difficulty thing. I thought we were still on normal. Is that not the case?
We are still on normal. I mean, typical, like classic Diablo fashion was you beat the game and then unlock the next difficulty, so
Right.
you beat it again and so on and so forth. It went like normal, nightmare, hell, inferno. Those are gone. And again, this just goes back to the fact that Blizzard was trying to make Diablo 3 into a game that was the Diablo 3 they thought the fans wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And the fans thought they wanted it too. Like when they saw that, they were like, fantastic. But when it came right down to it, that's you trying to make a game that should have came out 10 years ago. You
Mm-hmm.
know. So now what they're doing is they're getting rid of that and they're implementing a new system where you can choose, you can still choose a difficulty level. Was having this conversation with a friend of mine via text today. Like everybody's back in Diablo, so I'm
Mm-hmm.
talking to everybody about it. And he is soloing a level 38 on extreme difficulty, which is like the third highest.
Okay.
So there's still difficulty levels, and that basically affects the type of monsters you see. So
Okay.
when we're playing normal, we're really only seeing like a couple of variations, but I guess in extreme, like you'll like more often encounter themed monsters who have like fire damage or exploding damage or ice slow and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the beauty of it is that all the monsters scale to your level. And we saw that where they always scale to the highest level, I think. And when we started playing, we had a
Oh, do
difference
they?
of about four
Jeez.
levels. Yeah.
Because I
So
was
we
just
were having
telling
an
people, I
issue.
was like, oh yeah, stuff totally scales. So yeah, you have a level 27, you can come play with us. We're
Well,
going to get
I,
murdered.
I think we would end up getting murdered because I mean the game would probably rather make it harder than easier so the
Mm-hmm.
level 27 can't power through. But
True.
there is that catch up mechanic where by the end of the night we were all around the same level.
That is
Um,
that is true. So yeah, we started. I think when I started playing last night, I was at level 14, and I ended at 19. And
mhm,
then I think everybody else in the party had started around level 10 because again, I went and played by myself for a little while. So I leveled up 2 or 3 times playing by myself.
mhm.
So then you guys came in with your characters that we had played on the previous game night, and by the end, you guys were almost caught up. So I think everybody was either 17 or 18, and I was 19. So like you do catch up really quickly, and I definitely noticed that is like I would take a lot longer to level up, and I just see all these like boom, 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 like gold spheres of awesome fireworks as you guys leveled up, and I was just like, oh, when am I gonna get fireworks?
Well, eventually you did.
Eventually,
And
yes.
I had to fight so hard not to sing the Katy Perry song. But we never really experimented much with the difficulty setting. But maybe once we beat all the story and we want to go back and just challenge ourselves,
Hmm.
we'll set it
I'm
up,
okay with
kick it up.
normal for now.
Yeah, we were just having fun. I mean, we
Hmm.
might be able to kick it up a notch, but I think we were doing fine.
Yeah.
But after that, they have neither of us got into the Paragon stuff.
No, I had no idea what that was. And Ralphie actually tweeted me last night and said, oh, I have a 60, and then in brackets wrote 32. And I'm like, I totally thought he meant he had 32 characters at level 60. And I was like, I didn't even know that they would let you have that many. And he's like,
Well,
no, he has a level 60 with 32 Paragon levels, whatever that means.
that was kind of again their answer to people complaining that they beat it too quickly. Like they
Mm.
got their character to level cap, they beat the game 4 times, and they were like, "What do we do now?"
Hmm.
So they created this like, well, Paragon levels. You keep leveling up, but it's a separate level. So they've kind of updated it where now you no longer have a Paragon cap, and XP is shared among all your characters. So I guess you have a account bound Paragon level. So I guess it's like the Mass Effect multiplayer where when you uh,
Promote?
promote your characters, you have that one number that's like all your promoted characters or your N7 number.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. It's probably not a good example, but I don't know if I'll ever get to the point of having Paragon levels because I don't see myself playing through the game that much with one character.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I'm playing with a different class now. I played through as a demon hunter, and I'm enjoying the wizard. So,
Oh,
but this is
the
great.
wizard's the best.
Yeah, this is good news for people who want to just play this game until their eyes fall out, and then they
Mm-hmm.
put it in and play some more.
So it looks like the last kind of change that they made, and again, like this is something that I never made use of because I just wasn't playing enough, I guess. But clans and communities. So you can have as many communities as you want and only one clan. So essentially, it's like a guild in WoW. So, I don't know. Have you seen many clan tags?
I not a lot. I've seen a few, but I think this is brand new. I mean, we wouldn't have been able to experience it because they just added it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they didn't even have this in the base game. But I can't. I don't know if AIE has a clan or a community. But yeah, I mean, I think there's ones out there to join. But I guess really the benefit of having a clan is like to be in a guild type chat room.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas a community, I don't know, like maybe this is helpful to people, but it
Yeah, I don't know.
would be
I wonder
interesting to
if
start
it's
that.
like if you're in a clan, it's maybe easier to join games. Like if you're in a community, it's mostly just a chat room sort of a deal. But if you're in a clan, it's like when I log in, I auto go into whatever game my clan is playing, like wherever my clan has room, sort of thing. I don't know. I'll have to take a
Maybe
look because I
you,
haven't really gotten into it very much.
yeah, maybe you can like pull up, here's all the clan games going on, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Because I know you can do that for your friends list. Like you can click on join game and it gives you the option to see, well, here's what your friends are doing, similar
Mm-hmm.
to like Borderlands 2.
Yeah.
So no, that'd be cool.
Mm-hmm. So I think just finally what we wanted to cover was how long it took to do this huge patch. So
Hmm.
Diablo, like we've talked about, did come out 2 years ago, or
Hmm.
almost 2 years ago. And the reason that we got these huge changes and huge fixes, and I think really the two big ones are the loot and the difficulty settings. And it took 2 years. So mostly it was driven by the new expansion. And I don't know, Ryan, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, I think Diablo 3 was probably one of the more poorly received games that Blizzard's put out.
Absolutely.
Not that it was a bad game. It's just that I don't
Error
think it.
37.
Well, let's not. They fixed that eventually. It's no Sim City. Let's get that out
That's
of the way.
true.
But I think that a lot of people just, you're either a fan of Diablo 3 or you're just like, this is not the game I wanted. And yeah, I mean, Blizzard's been known to tack huge updates to expansions. They do this with WoW, they do this with StarCraft. I just think the big difference is that people didn't have initial problems with those titles, so
Mm-hmm.
they don't see it as Blizzard making money to fix a game. And keep in mind that all the stuff we described in this segment is free. If you own the game,
Absolutely.
it's free to you. So
And
do
I
I think
think,
Blizzard? Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know, with the whole taking 2 years to fix problems, I think a lot of these things, particularly the loot system, was probably not an easy fix. So I think that
No.
timing it with an expansion is probably twofold. It's like, yes, they want to say we have all these things fixed in time for a new expansion to come out because then more people are going to buy the expansion. I'm not saying that that doesn't factor in because I'm sure that it does. But I think at the same time, there's going to be a lot of, first of all, community feedback, troubleshooting of the game. They have to figure out exactly what it is that the community doesn't like about the loot system. They can't just say, it's this, we need to fix this, so we're going to toggle some Boolean value in the background and that's going to fix everything.
Right.
So I think they really had to nail down what the issue was. And I think that the fact that a lot of people dropped out of Diablo after only a very short period of time, like 2 or 3 months, I would say, probably tops, where people were actually putting hardcore hours into Diablo.
Hmm.
So you lose your data stream. Like you lose all the comments and the feedback because people aren't playing as much.
Yeah.
So,
Keep in mind that they also had their game director step down. Like Jay
mm,
Wilson did not stay long. I mean, I think he may have been with the game for a year, and uh, they weren't trying to fix it in the first year of its release. They were talking about releasing the PvP section. There was supposed to be a huge PvP um, uh, addition to the game that came out in the
Like an
first year.
arena?
Yeah, it was like an arena battle, and they had shown clips of it, and they had advertised it, and that was their next big focus.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they said, you know what, this is not what people want right now. They want
Mm-hmm.
us to fix the
Yeah.
core problems, so they dropped that like it was hot, and then started work on this loot system. So it hasn't been 2 years at best. It's been a year,
Mm-hmm.
and I think if Blizzard had come to the conclusion that Loot 2.0 was the solution, they would have started right from the beginning
Mm-hmm.
and had that out free of charge.
So do you think that if they had kind of realized that that's what the problem was and that's where they should have been focusing on right from the beginning, do you think we would have seen it, like halfway through, or do you think that they still would have held off?
I think we would have seen it halfway through. I don't think, you know, most companies would love to have the failure that is Diablo 3. I
Well, yeah,
mean,
there's that.
let's face it, Blizzard was making money hand over fist from Diablo 3,
It
even
was
though it wasn't that
wasn't it
great.
like the best selling PC title?
Yeah, it sold very well, and
Mm-hmm.
that real money auction house, let's face it, people were using it and Blizzard was making money off of
That's
it.
true.
And
That's
they even
true.
admitted that when they said they were going to take it away. Like,
Mm-hmm.
this isn't because it's been a failure. We've actually been making money.
Yeah.
I don't know whether they should have said that. It kind of makes them sound like they're like, oh, we're so great. We're just going to adjust our ties and take this real money auction house off because we're just the best company ever. And you got to
Well, I
applaud them
mean,
for
it,
that.
it kind of gives them some PR points, right? If you can take
Yeah.
something and say, look, we are making money off of this, but we're going to get rid of it because it's not actually promoting the type of experience we want you to have when you're playing our game. I think that speaks very highly of Blizzard. And I mean, yes, they are the ones that are saying the comment. So, I mean, there is a little bit of bias there, but at the same time, they're not wrong. Even if they are tooting their own horn, like, they're right. If they're making money and they're still getting rid of the service they're making money on because it's not what the game or the community wants or deserves, then I think that's huge. So yeah, I don't know. I'm really glad with the changes that they've made. It has made a huge difference in the whole game experience. I think the fact that it's timed right before the expansion is good because the hype is there and it's going to help them sell more expansions. I'm going to buy the expansion. I don't know which one because I don't know,
You
Battle
know you're going to
Pet.
buy the pet one. Come on.
I know,
Let's
but
just,
Joel, I told Joel about it and he was like, "But isn't that like $20 for a Battle Pet?" Well, when you put it that way, I'm like, "But I can't get it any other way." I'm
okay.
already missing like the StarCraft Murlocs.
Here's the selling feature. You get StarCraft 2 portraits as well.
Ah,
Think,
that's true. I
think
had to
about
think, I'm like, wait, what the hell's a StarCraft 2 portrait? Like, oh,
and
right, that thing that I made Kerrigan and never changed again.
well, now you'll be able to change it every year when Blizzard comes out with a new title. You'll be able to change it at the end of the summer when Warlords of Draenor comes out.
Yeah. So before I forget, I did want to mention that Ryan and I really appreciate your continued support of our show, along with the support of our sponsor, Doghouse Systems. You can use the code TheGamersIn to double your RAM when you purchase a new gaming rig. So head on over to doghousesystems.com and get your order on. Which brings us to the listener feedback section, which this week we have a listener slash co-host feedback reminder thingy. Joel, who filled in for me last week, thank you very much again, actually said that Hawken is now free to play.
Oh,
So that apparently is an update for last week, which I totally went back and listened to that episode, guys. Totally.
it was great. It was a lot of fun, and we were sorry you weren't able to join us, but yeah, we lit some cigars, had a bit of a boys' night,
Yeah.
talked about some robots. Yeah.
I heard that there was robots and guns and Yakuvo my.
Oh yeah, there was plenty. At one point I accidentally slipped into one of my like British accents. He told me off air, it's like, don't ever do that again. Okay. No,
That's
James
amazing.
is probably one of the nicest British people you'll ever meet.
So yeah, if you guys haven't, then go and check out last week's episode. That was episode 111, where they talked all things Hawken, and Hawken is now apparently free to play. So you guys should all go pick that up. Apparently it's awesome, where you get to like build your own mech and then like fight them and stuff. So yay, giant robots.
Maybe it was always free to play, and I guess it was on Steam early access, but
Yes. So
yeah, now
it's
you
no
can play.
longer early access. Now you can just go play it free to play.
Maybe in the future of Gamers in Game Night, we might be shooting some hawks.
We might be. So if you'd like to, you can visit us on the web at gamersinpodcast.com. You can find us on AMove TV, along with other fabulous podcasts, including StarCast, Campaign Roundtable, Biggest Fan, AMove Radio, and The Angry Chicken. You can follow us on Twitter. You can find me, Jocelyn, at GIS Gamer. Ryan is at R. Murphy, and don't forget to follow the show at The Gamers Inn. The video versions of all our episodes can be found on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Jocelyn Moffat. You can also find us on Facebook and Google+. You can email the show at info@gamersinpodcast.com with any of your comments on anything we talked about tonight, including Diablo 3, Elder Scrolls Online, and please don't email us about South Park Stick of Truth, because, again, the views expressed in the following video game commentary do not express the views of those hosting the podcast. So before we go, I just want to give a quick shout out and thank you to Greg Moffat for creating our music. You can find him on Twitter at SoundsInfluence. We'd also like to thank Joel Duggan, who does all of our graphic work. You can find him and everything he does at joelduggan.com. So thanks for staying at the Gamers Inn, and remember, tune in next week. Good night, guys.
Bye.